Hi guys, in today's video we are going deep into you all's assumptions about me and my life. You guys wanted a little bit of tea. I'm answering as many of them as I can. A lot of you made the same type of assumptions and they spanned over like my personality, my marriage, my finances, how I raise my kids, politics. So I'm excited to share them with you. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. I know this started, like this assumptions thing started probably over a year ago at this point, and I've always been a little afraid to do it. It's one thing to live your life on the internet and have people comment. It's another thing to ask them what they assume. But I just decided like I'm not really afraid of y'all. So let's get into it. I put a question box on my Instagram. That's typically how it's done. I did break everything into sections just to kind of keep it flowing. So we're gonna start with your assumptions about like me as a parent. I assume you feel complete with 2 and not planning on a 3rd. I've made that abundantly clear. Like I have no intentions of giving birth to any more kids. My heart is open to adoption. It's not gonna happen anytime soon, and I won't break my birth order. So the plan would always be to have Sebastian as the oldest, Margot as the middle if we adopted, and then the new baby if we were to adopt or foster younger than Margot. I don't want to break my birth order, but adoption is not on the table at the moment. It's something that we will discuss later on. But as far as birthing, we're done. Assumption number 2, you get overwhelmed like everyone else and you don't have a nanny. That is true. I do not have a nanny. And at this current state in my life, I don't feel like I need one. I love that I'm here, my children's sole provider during the work hours while my husband's at his job, and then when he's traveling during football season, I'm happy to be the only one here for my kids. It sometimes does get hard and having help would be nice, but it's just unnecessary. Also, Sebastian's about to start pre-K and he'll be at school, so having one child who's under 20 months is not that hard for me to get, you know, my things done. Thankfully, when my husband is home, he is the best teammate. He tags in and takes over. It's the best. We have the best system as parents going on. So yes, I do get overwhelmed, but creating a routine and a system has made it to where we don't need any additional help from a nanny. Number 3, you are very patient with your babes. And the answer is getting more patient with my babes. I am not by nature a patient person, so having children has definitely taught me patience, and it's something that I work on every day because, you know, you can't be rushing a toddler along. They move at their own pace and that's how they learn. So you have to just, you know, if things happen, you roll with it. And I do think I am getting a lot better in that respect. I assume you limit your kids' screen time. The answer is yes and no. It's the summertime now, so I'm not really being crazy about screen time. If they watch it, they do. If they don't, they don't. Once school starts this fall, we'll be on a completely different schedule. I generally try not to just let them sit in front of the TV and just waste away. So I'll turn it off and we go do something as a family, or we'll play in the playroom. Something that we started doing is called classical hour, and we have it multiple times a day, even though it was supposed to just be 1 hour a day. But Sebastian loves it so much. And classical hour is we don't watch TV. We will have classical music playing in the background, and they can do an art project. They can play with their Montessori toys, they can read, they can just do anything that has nothing to do with watching TV or playing with electronics. All right, so moving into the marriagey type of stuff, the 5th assumption is Brandon and you are each other's first loves and you look very happy together. God bless you. We are very happy together, thank you, but we are not each other's first loves. I've told 2 guys prior to Brandon that I love them. One was a high school boyfriend when I was like 15 or 16, and we did say I love you, but that was also my first boyfriend, so I don't really think I knew what love was. I didn't, looking back. My second boyfriend was somebody I was actually in love with, and that's how I knew I wasn't in love with my high school boyfriend. And this boyfriend I had in college, at one point I thought we would get married. It didn't work out, but I am now with my husband. He also has had previous relationships, and I know for a fact the girl before me he told he loved, and they were together for a couple years as well. So it's fine. I don't think we needed to be each other's first loves to be true loves. So there's that. All right, the next assumption is I assume you wear the pants in your relationship, and the answer is actually no, I don't. And I enjoy not wearing the pants in my relationship. We have a very traditional marriage. He is the provider for this family. He does have final say in what goes on here. However, he and I are very much a team and partners. We make decisions together, but I do take a step back and allow him to lead our family because that's the role that we both agreed that he would take in this marriage, and it's I'm totally fine with it being that way. The next assumption is just nice. You and Brendan have an amazing relationship. We do. We get along, we laugh, we joke, we're intimate a lot, we're best friends, and I think that that's what makes us so amazing. We work well together. We rarely fight, and when we do, it's not really even a fight. It's more so just we don't agree and then we come to one, but it's never like a knockout drag out situation. We don't go to bed angry at each other. Neither of us are afraid to apologize. We truly wake up every day and just know that we want this to keep working between us, and we're going to do whatever it takes. And yeah, I'm so blessed, and I'm so thankful that he's my husband, and this life that we have, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Okay, so this next one is where things start to take a little bit of a turn as far as assumption. This is also about my marriage, or me and Brandon, I guess, and it says that you live above your means to keep up on YouTube. That one always makes me laugh when I see people say that about YouTubers, especially when it's aimed at me. I've gotten questions like, do I feel like I need to keep up with people on YouTube? And the answer is absolutely not. Nothing I do in my life is to try to keep up appearances for anyone, or to do it so that I look like I have what someone else has or more. Just no, everything we have is just because we can afford to have it. I guess I don't do anything or buy things or shop places or do anything that would stretch myself too thin. I just don't do it. I don't even know how else to explain it. My life would be the exact same if I wasn't on YouTube, period, or if I didn't have a social media presence. Like, I would be doing the exact same things regardless. All right, so the next two are kind of similar. You always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and you wanted to stay home because you didn't want to work. Yes, I've always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. No, I didn't do it because I didn't want to work. And I think whoever made that assumption doesn't have children and or doesn't stay home with their children, because if any of you know who stay home, you know that we do nothing but work all day. As a stay-at-home mom, I do so many jobs. I am my kids' primary caretaker. I am their chef. I am their doctor. I am their therapist. I am their chauffeur. I bankroll their lives on top of that, so obviously work has to be done to get that done. I also take care of this house. I completely clean it and decorate it, mostly myself, but my husband does jump in there as needed and whenever he wants to. Staying home, while it does seem like, oh wow, so lucky, you don't have to sit behind a desk for 9 to 5 and listen to somebody else, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of work. I would never have chosen to become a stay-at-home mom if I did not want to work, because staying home is a thankless job a lot of the times. Your kids don't really understand or care exactly how much you do, especially when they're little and can't understand, and you don't get paid to do it. You do it because you love it. So it's not because I don't want to work, that's for sure. All I do is work. The next few assumptions are about our finances, money, and stuff like that. And I'm not someone who likes to talk about money and politics, but I will talk about a few of the things that you guys assumed on here. This one came in as a question versus an assumption, but it says, do you have any debt, student loans, or credit cards, etc.? And the answer is no. We do not have any debt. When I graduated from college, I did have student loans. Brendan did not, so that made things a lot easier. When we got engaged, I was still working a 9 to 5, and I was paying off my student loans, and then he jumped in to help me when we got engaged, and then my mom was also helping us pay off the loans. I will go into detail about why my mom was helping, but it's a longer story. Either way, she was helping too. And then when my dad passed away, we did go ahead and pay off all of my student loans. When Brandon and I were paying it, we used Dave Ramsey's methods as a guide to help us pay them off, and it was working wonderfully, and I totally recommend it if you are looking for ways to pay down your student loans. As far as credit cards, we do have an emergency credit card. We don't use it unless there's an emergency, and there really hasn't been. We have excellent savings so that we don't have to use the emergency card, but we have one just in case. And I've never had credit card debt. My mom scared me going into college, like, do not accept the free t-shirt, it comes along with credit card debt freshman year, and I listened. I never had a credit card in college, and our cars are paid off, so Brandon still drives. This man is a trooper because he doesn't have to, but he still drives his car that his parents bought him when he was 16. It's a Volkswagen Jetta, and she's still trugging along, and she looks good on the road. So no, don't go inside the car because, you know, the cardboard might be shown, but he loves that car. And I'm like, you don't have to drive this car anymore, but he just wants to, and it keeps us from having to pay a car note. We do have our mortgage, which I guess some would consider debt. I don't. Nothing unnecessary, like no credit cards, student loans, cars, or anything like that. All right, so the next assumption came in several times in various different ways. Let's see, you're super rich, you grew up well off, You grew up ballin', your parents are loaded, your parents helped you with your house. This one was 2 different boxes. And we've seen their house and your old house. So I'm assuming, let me read that last one again, hold on. Your parents helped you with your house. We've seen their house and your old house. So I'm assuming, we've seen their house and your old, I'm assuming that you're comparing my previous home to this one and my parents' house, and they're not the same. So we must have needed help. I guess. Brendan and I are not super rich. I don't consider myself to be like among the wealthy elite in any kind of way. My husband does really well at work. He is able to handle all of our finances as far as like our bills and stuff for the house, as well as contributing to our kids' college tuition funds and our retirement fund. And then I do also, you guys probably don't believe it, but I do generate an income, and most of that goes toward like the fun things that we do and or decorating this house. The next one was kind of like, you grew up rich because your parents are. No, I didn't grow up rich. Things weren't always as they are now. As I got a little older, things got way more comfortable. My mom has worked her butt off and did amazing at work my whole life, and is now enjoying the fruits of all of her labor. And then to address the last one, your parents helped you with your house. No. Not my mom, my stepdad, or my dad before he passed helped us in any way with this house. Brandon and I owned another home that you guys have not seen on this channel that we sold just before we bought this one, but that had nothing to do with my parents at all. Our previous house that you did see was very small. It was a rental because we had to move very quickly out of our apartment in the city. It was just a quick find because we just found it randomly and liked the neighborhood it was in. I didn't really care how big it was. We only rented it because we wanted to make sure that we liked this area that we live in before we completely just bought into it. These next ones are about race, and y'all, okay. Let's just get into it. This next one was asked by 2 different people in 2 different ways. I'll read both. You only grew up around white people growing up. The other one is, you grew up being the only black girl often. The answer is no. I will say kindergarten and 1st grade were predominantly white. Starting in 2nd grade and up, all of the schools I went to were mixed in races, especially senior year when I went to a public school. My schools were always very mixed in race. I never was the only black child. It just was never like that. I'd always had mainly just white and black. And then when I went to the public school, there was everything basically. And then as a child, we went to churches that were predominantly black. And now we go to a church that like they're mixed. There's a little bit of everybody there. The next one is you don't have black mom friends. And the answer is mostly true. That assumption is mostly true. It's not that I don't have black friends, it's that most of my black friends, they are married and have no children yet. So that's pretty much it. Obviously you guys know Amber. I've had her on my channel a million times. She's black, she's a mom, and she would be around more often, but they moved to California. And then I have cousins who are also moms and black and stay home. However, my friends who live in my state that I see when I want to hang out that are black don't have kids. A couple of them are pregnant. So yeah, I don't have a lot of black stay-at-home mom friends, and that is true, but it's not because I don't have black friends. All right, and then this one, which you want to be white so bad, and the so bad was in capital letters. The answer is no. I don't even know what I would have said or done to make anyone assume that I want to be white, but I don't. I think I know where this assumption is stemming from, and I'm gonna get into that in a second, but I have never once said, I'm Krista, I recognize that I'm black, but I want to be white. I've never tried to do like a makeup look with a makeup that was intended for not my complexion. I've never worn clothes that said like, I want to be white, or like, look at me, I'm a white girl. Like nothing I have ever done. I have never done anything like that. So to not hear it come out of my mouth, or not see me physically do something to my person, or a statement on my clothes to say as much, I don't really know how someone could validly assume that. But I will say this, my whole life I've got, wow, you talk like a white girl. Anyone who looks at a black person, black man, black woman, and says you want to be black because you speak well is just perpetuating a stereotype that we want to be white because we speak well. And I didn't realize that speaking well was only exclusive to one race. Anyone should be able to speak well, and everyone should want to, and shouldn't we all try to be the best versions of ourselves? It's not about being another race. That's the only thing I can assume, but I definitely don't want to be white so bad. I'm happy being me. I love being me. I think I love me. I love me the way I am, and I don't think I've ever tried to be anything other than who I am. Now we're getting into politics, and there was only a few, but I narrowed it down to these two because they're ultimately all kind of the same assumption. I don't like to talk about politics, mostly because it's just not fun, but I also do recognize that talking about politics brings in unwanted conversations that I don't really feel like having. So I will just answer these and move on. The first assumption is you did not vote for Donald Trump. It's correct, I did not vote for him. The next one is you are a conservative Democrat, LOL. I laugh because I feel silly assuming out loud. That last part made me laugh because this whole video is about assumptions, which is completely improper to do, but this is fun. And I would say yes, I would consider myself a conservative Democrat at this particular stage in my life. I assume you've left friendships over their political views. I respect that 100%, by the way. The answer is no. I have never dropped a friend or ended a friendship or left a friend, like this person said, over a political view. I have ended friendships over, I say that as if I've ended tons of friendships. I haven't, but a couple of people who I've had in my life that I've ended friendships with, it was more so over issues that are pretty clear cut, and if you fall on one side or the other, like, we just will never agree. But it was never about politics. This next one is also an assumption about friendships, and it says you unfriend/unfollow people you don't like. And I'm assuming this is about the fact that I unfollowed several other YouTubers, and in fact I'm gonna address this for a second because there's a couple things I do want to say. Yes, I have unfriended several YouTubers, and it's for one of many reasons. One, they've either wronged me in some kind of way and I don't want them in my life anymore. Two, has nothing to do with them wronging me and everything to do with the fact that their content just doesn't do anything for me on Instagram. And when I'm scrolling and I see a picture of something I don't like, and I'm like, what is this? Who is this even from? And then I go to the page and I'm like, I don't really like much of anything I'm seeing here. I unfollow. It might not have anything to do with that person other than I just don't really care to see their photos, but it's not because they did anything wrong. I've had YouTubers that I've never met before DM me and say, why did you unfollow me? And I'm like, girl, we don't even know each other. Like, we've not even collabed. We've never spoken. Like, it's okay. It's not because I don't like you. I don't know you. It's just, I just didn't care to see your content anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think that we should feel, and for a very long time I felt this way, that I have to follow certain people because there's some kind of weird YouTube hierarchy or weird influencer hierarchy. And I don't feel that way. I only take in content that fills me up in a certain type of way. So I watch people's content where I learn something, or if I just really like them as a person and want to follow them. So if another YouTuber that everyone else follows and likes is doing, you know, a certain type of content that just doesn't resonate with me, I'm not going to just waste my time filling my mind up and letting them take up residence in my brain. I just want to put it out there that just because I unfollow someone doesn't mean that there's beef. It just means, and this is going to be a little harsh, but I just don't care enough to see it anymore. I feel like people like to assume that there's drama, or that like I unfollow people because I don't like them and I must not like a lot of people, but that's just not what it is. It's just not. I just don't care. This next section is like just about like assumptions about me, not about other people. Some of them are like nice and some aren't, so we'll start with the heavier ones first. It says you can be high maintenance. Now, I want to talk about this too, because ladies, if your man or one of your friends have ever called you high maintenance, listen to what I'm about to say first before you agree or disagree with being high maintenance. One of Brandon's best friends, who is still his best friend, you've seen him on this channel before, his name is Cam. He, years and years ago, told me that he thought that I was high maintenance. And I said, why? Like, what have I ever done that has made you have that impression of me? And he goes, well, you always like to have your hair done, you always like to have your nails done, you're always dressed in, you know, a certain type of way. He's like, I just feel like you like all these nice things. And I was like, since when is liking nice things or liking to present well being high maintenance? To me, being high maintenance is when what you're doing is somehow burdensome to someone else. If I always want to have my hair done, which it's not even done right now, but if I wanted to and it was causing a burden on my husband or our finances, or it was taking up too much time and my kids weren't seeing me, then that could, yes, be considered high maintenance. If getting my nails done was somehow causing a strain or a burden to someone else, my family or friends, then yes, that could be high maintenance. If we're on a girls trip and I need to take 4 hours to get ready before anyone can leave and everyone's just waiting for me, that's high maintenance. But just wanting to look nice and having my hair and nails done and dressing nicely does not make me high maintenance. Think about, if someone calls you high maintenance, are you doing things that burden someone else? If another woman is calling you high maintenance, is it because she sees something in you that she wishes she had for herself? Or are you truly burdening her in some way? And if you're not, then you're probably not high maintenance and they just recognize something special about you. Just saying. So the next couple were a similar assumption that I'll lump together. I thought you were stuck up, but you seem cool. Sometimes you come off as stuck up, but really you're down to earth and chill. You are a little reserved as a defense mechanism. The answer is I don't think I'm stuck up at all. I don't look down on anyone because I am no one. Truthfully, I am pretty sure of myself. I am very particular and there are a lot of things that I just don't like. If I see something, I'm not gonna be like, ew, gross. But I will, you know, I'll be thinking like, wow, that's a mess. You know what I mean? But not publicly. I am nice to everyone, no matter who you are. I've always been taught, never treat someone poorly or look down on them, because you never know when you may need their help later on and they're not going to be willing to help you. Like, you've got to be nice and kind to everyone. But I think once people actually get to know me, or maybe if you guys have assumed that I'm stuck up and then you DM me on Instagram and realize, like, I'll have a conversation with y'all and we will kiki and talk about like the most random thing in my DMs, which I do with so many of you. You'll realize like I'm a normal down-to-earth girl. I don't put on airs or try to be anything that I'm not. But yeah, I do think I'm pretty cool and chill. I get along with pretty much everyone, and most of the time, which is rare because I don't fight with my real friends, but if ever I've had a friendship that didn't work out, it's because I chose to not be around them anymore versus them not wanting to be around me. And to answer that last assumption, I am reserved until I'm comfortable. I'm not gonna be the loudest one in the room. I'm not gonna be cracking jokes like until I feel comfortable. And then once I know I can let my guard down, it's down. And we will laugh and joke for the rest of the night. And then the last few are like the fun ones about me. I assume you want to be an interior designer. The answer is no. I love decorating but I don't ever want to do that as a job. I have an eye. I do believe I have that, and I enjoy doing it for myself. I would never want to take someone else's money and do that because I know I would ruin their home. If anything, I'd like to be more like the lifestyle inspiration for how to live in your beautifully decorated home, but I don't want to be the one to decorate it. You won't go camping because you hate bugs. 100%. I hate bugs. I don't like heat, I don't like rain, and I don't like bugs. And that would all be things that deter me from going camping. I've gone twice. I never really want to do it again. I checked that box and yeah, that's done. I do glamping, maybe like in a cabin in the woods somewhere. But I think the days of me sleeping on the ground in a tent, done. You were really smart in school. You did really well in school. You were popular in high school. The answer is I was not very smart in school. I did A's and B's in high school because my mom would never have accepted a C in high school, and I was popular from 9th to 11th grade. I didn't like school. I was one of those kind of too cool for school kind of kids. I went because I had to. I didn't see the value of it at the time, which is so dumb looking back on it, but that's just who I was. I did what I had to do. I was never really good in math. In college, I failed a math class and lost my scholarship in my senior year. And like I said, I was popular up until the 11th grade. And then when I went to a public school for my senior year, I remember on the first day of school, my mom dropped me off. She goes, "Krista, it's okay if you don't win homecoming queen. Nobody knows you here." And I was just like, I know. It's fine. Like, I'm good. Let's see, this next one. You were a cheerleader in high school. The answer is no. I tried out for the varsity cheerleading team and I made the team, and then my mom made me quit and said that I have to keep playing sports because I think the quote she used was, "Don't be on the sideline cheering for the game, be in the game being cheered for." So that ended my cheerleading career that barely got off the ground. But I made the varsity team because I did gymnastics for many, many years. All right, the next assumption is you were in a sorority in college. The answer is no. I had no interest in it. I had friends who were in them, but I wasn't really down for being hazed. I just wanted to be me and make my friendships organically, but I don't see anything wrong with sororities. You are a perfectionist, and I got that one twice. No, I am not. I think at one point in my life I was, and I think it was mostly to appease my parents, and I thought that that's, you know, what I needed to do and be a certain way, but I don't strive to be perfect. I just want to be the best wife and mom. Anything beyond that, I don't really care about being perfect. And then these last ones were like assumptions slash compliments, but I'm gonna read them because I love you guys. You are sweet and totally approachable. You are very chill and relaxed. That you are genuinely a sweet person, and you're a totally lovely person. And I'd like to say, yes. Not to toot my own horn, but no, I'm being funny, but I do think that I'm a nice person. Like I said earlier, I try to be kind to everyone. I get along with everyone that I meet for the most part. I mean, there's no real reason at our age to not really be getting along with people anymore. I just think life is too short, as we've all learned in the last year. I also think my life is too good to really be angry and bitter and upset or jealous and hurtful towards other people. It's just unnecessary. We can finish off this video with this last one, and the assumption is you are very intentional in all that you do in a good way. And I say yes. Like I just said, life is too short. We don't know when it's our last day here, and I like to make the most of every single moment, whether it's with my husband, with my kids, with my friends, just with myself in my life. I like to celebrate all the little things and just really put thought and my heart into the stuff that really matters to me, because that is all we have. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this assumptions video and learned a few things about me. If you have any more assumptions or just questions, you can drop them in the comments. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.